Well, folks, it seems that we're finally approaching the end game in the Gaza war, having successfully pushed all the civilians first out of Gaza City, which was the main population center in the Gaza Strip, south all the way now to Rafah, which is on the Egyptian border. Rafah has exploded into a massive tent city, housing what's left of the Gaza population. And now Israel is demanding that either Hamas, settles with them and they sign some sort of peace treaty, or they're just going to level Rafah. So, they're saying to the militant group, hey, you better sign a peace deal, or we, the good guys, Israel, are going to just slaughter what's remaining of the civilians after we've chased them all from their homes and told them, hey, go south. That's where you'll be safe. I was here talking about it, so I know that they said that. You can go back and find my videos if you don't believe me, or find other sources. I mean, it's not like I made it up. I was reading it in the news. I was listening to the Israelis say this. They were saying, the good people in Gaza, we understand there's some good people there, and they should just flee Gaza City because we're going to go after Hamas there. And so just go south and you'll be safe. And, these people not only went south, they went as far south as they can go until they hit a brick wall known as the Egyptian border. And so it seems now that we know Israel's final solution to the Palestinian problem in Gaza. They're just going to kill them. Because there's nothing left to do at this point. They've already destroyed all the buildings, for the most part, in Gaza. That's why the population is now homeless, living in tents. It's not because they're nomads. It's not because they're just filthy, disgusting people. It's because they were chased out of their homes were blown up, they have no homes to go back to, and now they're all crowded into this very, very tiny corner. I mean, here's what I thought, silly me, I was, I guess, too conservative in my estimations of Israel's depravity. I thought Israel was going to chase all these people into Rafah. I'm like, oh, this is clever, very obvious. They can, once they chase everyone into the southern half of Gaza, they can just cut Gaza in half, build a new wall, and annex Gaza City and all the stuff in the north, and make that part of Israel. Silly me, I didn't realize that Israel was just going to continue enclosing these people, in a kettling maneuver, and tightening the noose until they were in a smaller and smaller area. And then, once they've got everyone herded into as tight of a box as possible, they were just going to go full kill box and wipe the place out. Now, to be fair, it hasn't happened yet, but this is, this seems to be certainly the only direction that things can go. Israel's certainly not saying, hey, okay, we've achieved our goals, we've pushed all the Palestinians into this tight little area where they'll be easier to manage, and we're going to take all their land. No, they're not saying that yet. They're just saying, no, we're going to keep killing. We're going to keep killing until Hamas surrenders. It's like, well, okay, when's that going to be? Oh, no. Does anybody get to vote on that? No, obviously. Hamas's leadership, from what I understand, isn't even in Gaza. So it doesn't directly cost them anything. The last person that Israel is going to take out by bombing Rafah is the leader of Hamas, because he's not there. I think he's in Qatar, right? And so Israel is just trying to appeal to his humanity and say, hey, we've got all these people here essentially held hostage. We've got our own hostages. You thought you took some Israeli hostages? Well, we've taken all of Gaza hostage. We've pushed you into Rafah. That's where we're holding you hostage, and we're going to start wasting hostages until the leader of Hamas in faraway Qatar finally capitulates and says, okay, I surrender. Now, we know that when Hamas took hostages, Israel did not surrender. Israel did not listen to what Hamas's demands were. Israel instead retaliated with brute force. Now, what do you think that Hamas is going to do in this situation? I don't think I have to tell you. I think it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. Meanwhile, stateside, the American government across the board, including state governments and even private universities, appear hell-bent on enforcing Israeli orthodoxy. I think I've said more than enough on the topic of what's going on with the universities. It's not exactly a black and white issue, and you can see my earlier musings on the topic. But I did just want to point out that nothing has really changed on that front, and I think it is. I think that it's embarrassing for the so-called America First crowd that they have devolved, along with the rest of the country, into this paradigm of our entire domestic politics now has devolved into Israel versus Hamas. That's like the two sides now, and that's how people identify. They identify either as supporters of Israel or Hamas. That is the most important pivotal issue, which it's astounding. It's unsurprising, yet somehow it is still astounding. And it's because we live in a stupid society. It's the squirrel brain. Israel is just the latest thing. Before that, we had Ukraine, and before that, we had the Wu flu. I personally thanked the war in Ukraine, like as a metaphysical concept, for ending the pandemic, because that was the end when Russia crossed the border from the Donbass, or actually into the Donbass, I guess it was, from Russia officially. I said it on that day. Congratulations, the pandemic is over. We will never have to wear masks again. Although Israel has not had the same impact on the war in Ukraine as far as ending that conflict. It's taken it out of the center focus, certainly, but it was already faded from the center focus a long time ago. There had just been a vacuum there. People were tired of the Ukraine war, but now I think that the war in Israel has rekindled that interest in the Ukraine war, because they're seen now as complementary issues. And so, anytime that Israel, because everyone's going to automatically sign off on free money, endless money for Israel, and anytime that happens, Ukraine is going to get their due as well. And so this really sucks, especially in an election year, when if we're going to have this whole sham known as democracy imposed upon us as Americans, I mean, the least that we can expect is that elections will center on issues pertaining to our lives and not the lives of random people in the Middle East that 99.9% of Americans will never meet. It makes me double down on my disinterest in politics. It's like, you pay attention to what's going on, and for what? To keep track of this nonsense? So anyway, with that said, I will see you folks back here in the next one.